She has published poetry. She hasn't published a novel. But let's give her a warm round of applause to Maria Aponte.
Hello. So actually, Felix, I was reminiscing with Ernesto. We were at the first Festival del Libro with Chris and Camaradas 10 years ago. Yeah.
A while back, like I said, I had hair on my head and it was
I actually, I'm a self-published author. I say that proudly. I came up in the New Eurekan Poets Cafe in the 70s with Sandra Maria Esteves and Americo Casiano and Luis Reyes Rivera. And in that time, a lot of Puerto Rican women were not really getting a voice to express themselves. And I actually started in theater and then I moved into poetry. So I lived that life of going on auditions and being told that I didn't look Spanish enough and my hair wasn't straight and my nose was too wide and, oh, you can't interview for that role because you don't have a Puerto Rican accent, you sound too educated. As the years went by, I found more comfort in writing my own work than going on auditions. And the reason why I actually did my 2 books is because whenever I dealt with outside sources in literature, they didn't want to accept my language. They didn't want to accept the way I spoke, how we speak. And so I decided that I was going to take all my stuff that I've been writing for 30, 40 years and put them in these 2 chapbooks. I treated this professionally. I had 2 good editors. They both live in New Mexico. I paid them to work on my manuscripts. My covers were designed by an award-winning artist, Mia Roman. The first book, this is actually a depiction of my building that I grew up in when I was a kid. I grew up on 117th Street and 2nd Avenue in a walk-up tenement building with the bathtub in the kitchen. I was a little girl when the race riots happened in Harlem, and my mother and I watched fire trucks coming down 2nd Avenue being set on fire. The Young Lords had their office over by 3rd Avenue and 117th Street over a bridal shop. Talk about juxtaposition. My second cover is my biography in prose. It's called The Gift of Loss, and these are actual real photos of my family. So whenever I sell this book, I'm giving you a piece of my heart. And I speak Spanglish. The 2 of them are in English and Spanglish. But for today, because it's been about a barrio, and I rarely read this piece, but I want to read something else, that a couple of new pieces that I've written. But just for today, because the Cosmo came up, I'm not reading from this one, I'm reading from Transitions, and this is called Para Mami, 16 is Forever. When I was 16, girls were popping bazooka bubblegum, they wore marshmallow shoes with glitter on the side, pro kids with stripes on the side and mood rings from Woolworths. 3rd Avenue was La Tercera. Carvel's on 106 sold the best strawberry milkshakes next to the pizza shop, best slice for 50 cents. Next to the pizza shop, next to the best slice is 50 cents. We bought military fatigue pants at the Army and Navy store, the one with the high waist and front buttons, and cool clothes from Marcos next to Crest. Baby t-shirts, tie-dye with rainbows, cause shopping on La Tercera and El Barrio is what you did on a Saturday afternoon. when I was 16. We wanted to live in the projects because they had elevators and besides tenements weren't cool. The Cosmo movie house where we watched Bruce Lee kick ass, imitating him, feeling the tiny tomboy spirit in me. Uh-oh, roundhouse. We ate alcapurrias and drank Mavi, our version of popcorn and soda. Then we throw in Raisinets for good measure when I was 16. The hangout was Jefferson Park, even if the handball courts had holes, in Benjamin Franklin High School, and the light fills on 116 and First Avenue. And Italian bakeries, Spanish bakeries, bodegas, both the regular ones and the ones that sold numbers. We danced to the Stylistics, Delphonics, Sky, Tavares, War, Chicago, Motown, always WBLS. I remember the mix, the sights, the sounds. I remember all this, you see, because my 16 always leads me back to you, your oxygen tank, the wistful look of yours, longing for your own 16 or my 16. So here it is, Mommy.